What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another football chatter video. Today I have yet another draft for you guys. That's all we do these days, just drafts. It's not much else that we can do. A lot of other content creators are making content with this and that midfielder pick and whatever. I just want to make drafts for you guys and just show you different drafts. But if you do enjoy this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Let's get into it. Now, in this draft, I have David Raya in goal and Valdemarson on the bench as the second choice. David Raya is there because it's very simple. He is number one in Arsenal, which last year was the best defense in the league. And yeah, their fixtures, as you can see, Wolves, Aston Villa, Brighton, Spurs, Man City and Leicester in the first 6 game weeks. Not the best, but Wolves could be a clean sheet, okay? Aston Villa away, probably not a clean sheet, but could be. Brighton could be a clean sheet. Spurs and Man City away, probably not. But last season, when Arsenal went to the Etihad, they kept a clean sheet. And they can basically, in my opinion, be referred to as fixture proof. And that is why going with David Raya might be a really good option, because he can just play for you and you don't have to think about, oh, should I bench him or not? He'll just play. And if they get a clean sheet, you get the points. If they don't, you don't. Very simple. He's 5.5 million. Yes, that's a bit much, but he is less than the 6 million defenders. If you really want to nail down Arsenal defender, you're gonna have to pay the 6 million price tag. So save the 0.5 there. Go with David Raya. Basically, the next defender that I have is Munoz in defense, and it was basically Flecken and Calafiori or Gabriel or Saliba, or Raya and Munoz. And I like Raya and Munoz more. Munoz is a lot more attacking than the others, and Calafiori is just not nailed. Well, we don't know if he's nailed yet. Guardiol is there as well. He's been in every single one of my drafts. You guys are probably sick of me talking about him, but he is insanely good. I think he's going to keep doing what he did last season, scoring goals, assisting, getting clean sheets, just being an overall good pick. So 6 million, just get in my team. Livermento's there because I think Trippier is about to leave, and if he doesn't, then Livermento will go out, but keep an eye on that. I've put in 2 4.0 defenders on the bench, Howard Bellis and Barco. And the guys, basically, the reason I've been able to put in 4 million defenders, 2 of them, is because Barco is fairly nailed in the Brighton side for now. Harold Bellis is nailed in that Southampton side, so you're not getting a dead player. You're getting 2 players that can play the games for you. They can come in if they have nice fixtures. So basically, I like them as options. In midfield, I still have Eberechi Eze. Really like him as a pick. He's got good stats. He's the key man in this Crystal Palace side. I've then gone for Anthony Gordon. He's been in every single one of my drafts, I think. I really like him as an option. He was really good last year, and I don't expect that to fall off. I've also gone with Mo Salah because I think we just need to have at least one of him or Haaland so that we don't have to completely tear our team up in case one of them doesn't work out. And if, let's say, Haaland scores 5 in the first 2, then you might want to switch Salah out for Haaland. You might want to look into that. I'm not saying you have to do it, but you might get tempted. And then it's better to have Salah. We can drop down to a cheaper midfielder, and then it's just basically 2 moves instead of 3, 4, 5, I've also got Foden. He's on the bench because he's against Chelsea. He might get into the team. I'm not sure yet, but probably not. And then, of course, for Ipswich away, Ipswich in Game Week 2, where they have Ipswich at the Etihad, he will be in the side playing and just covering Haaland. So I think Foden is a really good pick for 9.5 million. And then I'm going for Scott McTominay. Now, a lot of you guys might be questioning, what is McTominay doing there? Well, McTominay is rumoured to be leaving for Fulham. If he does leave for Fulham, I think for 5 million, he is going to be the 5 million pick in the game. Because I think it's going to be nailed on for Fulham. When he played for Manchester United and he played more up front, like in the 10 sort of role, he was always crashing into the box, getting headed goals, good finishes. He was a really good player in my opinion. I think he's very underrated. So I'm not saying that he might necessarily worked out for Man United, but I think for Fulham, he could be a key player in a new environment. He might do very well, and for 5 million, he might make a mockery of that price. So do not ignore McTominay. In the forward line, I've gone for Ollie Watkins. Now, I think he was the highest point scoring forward last season. That doesn't just drop off immediately. So I think he could help us live without Haaland a bit. The Aston Villa fixtures, look really nice. You know, they got West Ham in game week 1, but then it's Arsenal. That's a bit tricky. You could bench him for that, but he could just as well score, by the way. Leicester, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich. I mean, fantastic. And we're just looking at the first 6 game weeks, maybe even the first 5, because a lot of people are talking about wild carding game week 6. I might do that just to get the right players in, because we'll see who's nailed, who's starring and doing well, and you might want to get ahead of that. Now, I've gone for Alisson or Isak as well. Nailed in every single my draft. I'm not going to talk about him a lot because he is absolutely insane. I think for 8.5 million, the only player that I can say I'm going to have at the beginning of the season, unless he gets injured. And then it's Kai Havertz. I mean, he scored against Liverpool. He was in my draft before that, by the way. But he scored against Liverpool last night. Yeah, I mean, he did very well for Arsenal last season, scored 13 goals, 10 assists. He's got good fixtures, Wolves, Brighton, you know, Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth after game week 5, of course, but also some tricky ones in Aston Villa and Spurs and Man City. So I just think for 8 million, I mean, he might drop down if I need to free up some cash. I just want an Arsenal attacker for that Wolves fixture, for that Brighton fixture. I think if you don't have an Arsenal attacker, you might fall behind. So he feels like an easier one to get in than trying to find space in that midfield. And I think he's just going to be nailed on. He's going to be starting every game. So I'm fairly happy with this squad. I think overall it looks pretty good. There's one thing that I've been trying to think about tweaking, and that is if I drop Mo Salah. I know I said it's necessary to have him. So if I just show you guys a little bit, we've freed up 5 million by just going Diogo Jota. If he's fit, Diogo Jota is a really good FPL asset in my opinion. Now you have 5 million. Where are you going to use those 5 million? You could upgrade McTominay all the way up to Son or to Saka, or for 0.5 more, you could upgrade him to Palmer. I do think this draft is lacking in no Chelsea. I think you need to have, well, you should have Nkunku or Palmer, at least one of them. I think they're going to be very popular. And if they go off, you're going to be left behind, and Chelsea have very nice fixtures. So I do think it's lacking in that. That is a huge downfall of this draft, in my opinion. But dropping Salah down to Diogo Jota could let you bring McTominay up to Nkunku, who you probably would rather have. You could possibly go Havertz down to Jackson and get Odegaard in instead of McTominay. I don't think you want to move any of the other midfielders. Maybe you don't like Diogo Jota, you could go for Szoboszlai, you could go for Elliott, you could go for different Liverpool players. I just think you need to have Liverpool coverage. You need to have Chelsea coverage. You need to have City coverage, Arsenal coverage, and Newcastle coverage. That's basically because those are going to be in most of the drafts. And then in defense, of course, you could upgrade the defense a bit if you free up the Salah cash. You could possibly go to a Trent. Maybe you could just go for Virgil van Dijk. Don't know. Or another Arsenal defender. I'm not sure what you want to do. You can play around with the draft, but there's 5 million to be played around with if you do Diogo Jota instead of Salah. I just told you a few solutions that you could possibly do. I really like the way this looks. I really like this draft. This might not be, I'm not going to say it's like, this is my final draft, because it just isn't. It's not going to be. There's going to be different ideas that come up. There's someone we don't know about, or someone gets injured, or someone gets transferred, you know, in or out. So I think it's ridiculous to say right now, you need these players in your team. You need to have this final team. It's just all for fun and games, just to give you guys some ideas of drafts. If you did like that, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Help us grow this community. It would mean the world to me to help me grow the channel. But I've been the Football Chatter. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time. Goodbye.